This is the first of 6 bridges in the city that we're replacing. So good and bad, you guys are the guinea pigs. We poured a lot of time into this project to make sure it goes smoothly. So, you know, one of the things we want to be upfront about, we recognize that this is going to be a challenging project. We have spent a lot of time, you know, studying the traffic study, the impacts of construction, and we've done everything we can to try to minimize that. We'll work during construction to minimize it. But outside of that, it is still going to be an inconvenience. And so we're really looking to you guys to be patient and understanding and hope that you can see beyond the completion of this project. When we wrap this up, we've improved at least that intersection. And then following this project will be a larger downtown, or lower, what they call them, the lower west downtown lighting project. And that'll follow on the heels of this project. 2 weeks ago, Council secured design funding for that project, so that's the first big step. So that'll be going on, the design for that will be going on while we're constructing the Haley-de-la-Vina Bridge. So that'll be immediately following. And then for those Brinkerhoff folks, there's a construction project underway that is, I would say December is kind of the timeline they're talking for starting, and that's just a lighting project on Brinkerhoff. So when we get done this whole, the whole west downtown, lower west downtown, we'll have some new lighting, a new bridge. It'll be pretty dialed. A lot of improvements to that neighborhood. I think it's well deserved. As you guys have probably seen some of the brochures, we have a website going to be set up. We're hoping you guys will use that. We'll be posting information as it becomes available on there. We've set up a cell phone, a dedicated cell phone, and our construction management team will be manning that cell phone. So if they can't get to it right away, leave a message. They'll get back to you. And our construction management team actually rented a house on Haley Street. I think it's 132 Haley Street. It's right on the construction site. They'll be there. Kathy will be there 8 hours a day. So any questions, you can walk over there and just ask her right away or give her a call. So, what's that? No, the dogs are going. So just the agenda tonight, I'm going to do some introduction of all the staff that'll be involved in construction. We have a PowerPoint presentation. We'll kind of walk you through some of the construction and the traffic control and what we'll be doing for that. We have someone here from the PD to talk. If anybody has questions about what will be done to patrol the area, they'll be here to talk about that. And then we'll have Q&A at the end, refreshments. We'll be around if you guys want to approach any of us and ask us questions. We're here for that. So I'll start off with intros. We have Lisa Royal. She's the project engineer, and she's like my right-hand person helping me out. And we've hired MEG. These are our construction management consultant. We have Carlos Sanchez and Catherine Murray. We have Sergeant Reeves behind me here. And Rivas, sorry about that. And then Kristen Ayers. And Kristen will be leading us through our presentation tonight. And Kristen is our public outreach consultant. She's kind of been working with us to make sure that we get the word out and help that we kind of filter all your comments back in and get those implemented. So, yes. Oh, Lash Construction. Last time we had our public meeting, we didn't know that. We've opened bids since there. And Lash Construction is a local contractor, which in my mind is great. I mean, because what we find with our local contractors, not to say that if you're not in the area, you don't care, but our local contractors have a vested interest, and Lash Construction has been around for quite a few years, and they are excited about this project, and I feel very confident with their management of this. LASH, the dark blue trucks that drive around. So at this time, we do not have a schedule from them. We are meeting with them on Friday. And once we get that kind of ironed out, we'll be putting that on the website and kind of sharing with you timelines. But at this point, we're still spring of 2011 is still the rough construction completion date. But we'll be working through putting out a schedule that's maybe a little more refined for folks to take a look at. All right. Thanks. Kristen? Yeah, can't say I was around back then, but certainly we have clauses in this contract that allow us, if Lash cannot complete the work, to go to another contractor and get this work wrapped up. So I remember it did go into litigation, and I don't remember, I think a large part of it had to do with the contractor and his management of the job, but other than that, I can't answer specifics. Yeah, different contractor. He went out of business.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Kirsten Ayers, and I'm going to walk you through the project overview tonight. It's going to take about 10 minutes, and then afterwards we'll open it up to question and answers. And we also have some follow-up from the last meeting we had in September. So if you were here then and you had some questions that we said we would research and get back to you on, we've got those answers for you tonight. So this project, as you know, is the Haley de la Vina Bridge Replacement Project. And here we go. As Josh mentioned, it was originally built in 1915, and Caltrans has deemed it structurally deficient, which means that it's time to replace the bridge. And in general, most of the bridges in town were built to last about 100 years, so you can see that we're edging right on up to that 100-year birthday, and it's time to get it replaced. In addition to replacing the bridge, we're also going to be improving some neighborhood facilities. In particular, we're going to widen the bridge span by about 15 feet. And what that does is that allows more water to flow under the bridge. Paul knows. So when that water flows under the bridge, we reduce the risk of flooding, which is great, especially in conditions just like we have tonight with a lot of rain. We're also going to be making improvements to Mission Creek. This project is part of the overall Lower Mission Creek restoration plan. So as Josh mentioned, we're going to have about 6 bridges replaced, all on Mission Creek. This is the first one. We're also going to be improving the pedestrian areas at the intersection, and I'm going to show you an enhanced view of that in just a minute. But what this does is it gives you better pedestrian areas at the corners, it enhances the crosswalks, and it creates American with Disabilities Act ramps, which means basically that there's a curb cut so that if you are pushing a walker or a wheelchair or a stroller, you can get up on the sidewalk. So this bridge is at the intersection of Haley and De La Vina Streets, and the bridge takes up the entire intersection. And as you can see from our map right here, that's where the bridge is, and Mission Creek runs basically diagonal across the intersection. And so that's where the bridge is. It takes up the whole intersection. The funding for this project, it costs about $12 million in construction costs to replace this bridge. So it's expensive. About 88%, a little over, is paid for by the federal government through their bridge replacement program. The remainder of the funds come from city funds, Measure D funds, and gas tax dollars. There are a lot of benefits to this project. Number one is real easy. This is going to improve safety in the area. So we have an aging bridge. It's time to replace it. We're going to do that. That will enhance the bridge's earthquake standards as well as vehicular and pedestrian load standards, so it'll be safer overall. Again, we're going to increase that water flow under the bridge, which reduces the risk of flooding for the overall neighborhood, which is great. We're going to make improvements to Mission Creek. We're going to be improving the creek banks near where the bridge is. We're also going to be redoing the landscaping in the creek so that it's native plants and riparian plants, better biology. Now again, this is just one step in the overall series for the Mission Creek restoration, but this is a good step. We're also going to enhance those pedestrian areas that I mentioned. So you've got better sidewalks, better curb and gutters, the ADA ramps, you've got better crosswalks as well. And this is a little mock-up of what I'm talking about. So I'll orient you to this picture here. This is a photo, and what we did is we took a simulation of the project and we put it on top of the photo so you could get a sense of what it may look like when we're finished. This is De La Vina. If you're coming down De La Vina and you were to keep going down, over here you'd find 101. This is Haley Street. This way is Bath. This way is Chapala, and then towards downtown. So you're at a bit of an angle here, but you can see where the bridge replacement is. These gold lines represent where the new bridge will be. So you can see it takes up the whole intersection. And as you were saying, it does look a little bit opposite. We've got Brownie's Market right here, if that helps orient everybody too. Okay? These are the enhanced pedestrian areas that I was mentioning. And these little black areas are the curb cuts. Those are those ADA ramps. so that if you're pushing a stroller or wheelchair, that's where you'd get up into the pedestrian area. As you can see from right here, there is a lot more pedestrian room. So if you're walking your dog, you have room, your dog has room. Same if you're walking with some friends, you have some more room at the corners. There are also enhanced crosswalks at the entire intersection. So you can see it's going to be a much nicer place to walk. Also, you can see here from these green circles, this represents some of the landscaping. Obviously, it won't look like that when we're finished, but you're going to get a lot of nice landscaping on either side in the creek bank. Okay? So the construction schedule. As Josh mentioned, Lash Construction has been selected. Next week, City Council will approve their contract. At least that's the plan. And then we hope to get them started in November. Probably the end of November, because they'll just have gotten their contract approved and they have to get the job slated and all of that. And then construction will likely run through spring of 2011. So keep in mind that there are a couple of restrictions that the contractor has to follow. And one major one is because this is a bridge replacement over a creek, there are certain times when they can be in the creek working and certain times when they can't be in the creek working. So we need to make sure they have enough time to do the job, but also push them so we're not doing construction forever. So we've got a pretty tight timeline in terms of overall construction on this bridge replacement. The majority of construction will occur weekdays, about 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And again, that's the majority of construction. We anticipate that because of that tight time frame in getting this bridge replaced, there may be some nighttime construction. At this point, there isn't any scheduled, but we just anticipate that it's likely going to happen. When they do that, they have to have all their nighttime construction approved by the city. So it's not like they can just say, oh, well, we didn't get to it and we feel like doing some nighttime construction. They have to be on top of the schedule. There will also be noise restrictions in place. So because this is a bridge, there will be some pile driving. What that means is they have to drive piles into the ground to support the bridge. That can be a little loud at times. Depending on what they hit, as you can imagine, if you hit bedrock, sometimes creeks are easier because it's a creek, sometimes not. It just depends on what they hit. So sometimes that can be a little loud. The majority of that will occur during the day, again, and those noise restrictions will be in place to encourage them to do that work during the day so that you're not hearing it all night long. But there might be some nighttime construction, so be prepared. Okay, so as I mentioned a few times, this bridge takes up the entire intersection. So during construction, the intersection will be closed. So back here on the map, we've got the project right down here. This is Haley, and then coming down here is De La Vina. We will have detours on Coda, Ortega, Bath, and Chapala streets. So basically, because that intersection is closed, you'll just detour around in your car to the next available intersection. So if you're coming up Bath, you get off the freeway. Instead of turning on Haley, that will be closed. You'll just come up here and use Coda and then use Chapala. If you're coming down on De La Vina, like a lot of traffic does, you'll be able to either use Ortega or Coda streets to detour around the project area. And there will be signs in place encouraging people to do that. As we get closer to the project right here, these dark purple lines show you where it's going to be local traffic only. Okay, because this is going to dead end, these streets are going to dead end into the project. You're not going to be able to walk or drive through that project area. So we're going to have local traffic only on these streets. We're also going to be enhancing the parking. I'm going to show you what that looks like right here. Here's Coda, and this is Haley. Here's De La Vina, and Bath, and Chapala. So when you come down De La Vina, you're going to either have to turn left or right on Coda. That's going to be the last part if you're going through the area. If you continue going straight onto De La Vina, you can see the road is going to dead end into the project. There will be parking here, head-in parking, to replace some of the parking that's lost because of the project area. But this is going to be local traffic only on De La Vina. We're also going to have local traffic only on Haley on both sides of the project. This side of the project between De La Vina and Bath is also going to have head-in parking. Brinkerhoff Avenue, which I know some of you have a preference for, is going to have a reconfiguration as well. Brinkerhoff is going to be one way. So you're going to come in from Coda, one way down to Haley, and then out. We're also going to change the parking only during construction, and it's going to be angled in parking. And that's, again, to replace some of the parking that's lost in this area and also to help slow down some of that traffic. I know some people are concerned about traffic. Carl's been telling me about his concerns. We have done this type of parking configuration in other projects, and it has been very successful. One thing that we're concerned about, as you know, as well, is speed and providing enough parking spaces. We believe that angled-in parking will help quite a bit in terms of that, because people will have to slow down because there will be cars backing up into that lane. So, all right. How do we get them to slow down? That might be a question for Sergeant Knoll right behind me. So we'll leave that up to him in just a minute. And Tim, I'm going to get to your question in just a second. Let me get through this real quick, and then we'll open it up for questions. Okay, so overall project timeline. In August, the request for proposals went out to the contractors. Those have now been opened. So many of you were here the last meeting we had, which was in September. We had not opened the contractor proposals at that time. They're open. City Council will be reviewing the contracts and approving them next week, hopefully. We hope to begin construction in November. What you're probably going to see at the beginning of the job is some initial staging. So they'll close the intersection. They have to get the job in order. They'll also start relocating some of the utilities. So there's a lot of work to be done. All those utilities have to be relocated before they can tear down the existing bridge. And of course, they have to build the new bridge before they can put them back. But don't worry, we're working with utility companies to make sure everything still works during construction. And then the project will be complete in the spring of 2011. Now, during construction, we've set up a number of ways to make sure you have information. One of the first ones that we've done is we've had our meetings and our mailings. So you've received at least 2 mailings from us so far, and we've also had 2 meetings. We're going to continue having mailers and meetings periodically throughout the project. We'll also have the website, and the website is up now, and this is the address. It's santabarbaraca.gov/Haley Bridge. All the information that we've sent you to date is on the website. So the fact sheets that you have, both in English and Spanish, are on the website. You can download them as a PDF. You can send them to other people if they'd like to see them. We also have the local contact phone number. And again, that's 705-7610. That's that cell phone that's only for the project. So if you have a question, give us a call. You'll probably get Kathy, and Kathy will give you a call back or answer your question right on the spot. We're also working with the local news media, and I know it's working already because a couple of you told me that you saw it on the news tonight about the meeting. So because we know this happens, everybody's busy in their own lives. We know sometimes the best way to get the information out to you is through the local media because you're already paying attention to that. We're going to keep working with them to make sure that they cover the project and the key milestones on the project as well. Okay, so that's the brief overview.